Okay, hey peeps, if you were absent or you just need to go back and listen to this presentation again, then please do that. So we're talking about geographic questioning and the 5 themes of geography. You should have talked about this a little bit in 6th grade if you were here in Frisco, and so this really should just be a review. And if you're gone, or if you were gone or you didn't get the handout of all of these slides, please come by my room and pick that up before you start watching this, so that way you can annotate these slides and make notes kind of like I am as we go, okay? So the big thing about geography is that we are thinking about the why of the where. So thinking about why things are where they are, okay? So if we want to make this more personal, like why is Wakeland where it is? Okay, we see that Wakeland is over here on this side, right, of Frisco. You know that because we live here, right? So the original Frisco is all of this stuff in yellow right here, right? That was the original Frisco High School, and so that's where, when Frisco a long time ago was just a one high school town, everybody fed into that one high school, right? Well, as people started moving to Frisco and Frisco started getting more popular, the second high school opened, which was Centennial over here on this side of town. So a lot of people started living in those neighborhoods over to the east of Frisco, and so they built a school over there. Wakeland was the third school that opened up, okay? So when people started living on this side of the tollway over here and started making neighborhoods, there became a need to have a high school over on this side of the tollway. So that's where people started feeding into, okay? So eventually, like as more and more people move to Frisco, we know that Frisco keeps growing and new houses keep being built, and so do new high schools, right? Because the population of Frisco is just so big. So the geography of Wakeland is there because there was just a need for a school on this side of town, okay? So geography is really thinking about why of the where. Why are things located where they are? Why are there mountain regions on the borders of plates, like if we're thinking about our big map that we made last week? Well, it's because we know that mountains typically lie on the boundaries of plates, right? So when we have convergent plates, there's usually a mountain range there, right? Or why do earthquakes happen where they do? Well, again, we know that earthquakes happen most of the time because those tectonic plates are sliding past each other, okay? So geography is just all about thinking about like why of the where, okay? Why do people live where they do? The list could go on and on, but we're thinking about the why of the where. Okay, so to get on to this, we just talked about the why of the where, and now we're going to review the 5 themes of geography. Start with location. There's 2 types of locations. Absolute location is talking all about the coordinates. I think I spelled that right. So like on our big map last week, we wrote that Dallas, the coordinates of Dallas was 32 degrees north, right? Yeah, and 96 degrees west. So when you're talking about a specific point on a map, that's the absolute location, okay? So you are thinking about the exact point on the map that you can locate using the grid system, okay? That is absolute location. The other type is relative location. Relative location is talking about where a place is in relation to other places, okay? So places in relation to other places. So you could explain that Wakeland is near Target, right? Or Wakeland is west of the tollway, or in the northern part of Frisco, right? All of those are descriptive words without giving the absolute location of Wakeland High School. So on this map, you can see there's all sorts of stuff labeled here on our map, right? And this is a map of Frisco. So I live near Pizza Hut Park, or Toyota Stadium is what it's called now, right? You probably go over to the mall, which is near IKEA, right? So anything that you can describe where something is without giving the coordinates, that's all going to be relative location. The next theme is called place. So there's different types of places. You have the physical place, which you see here in our picture. This is like some grassland, maybe like a safari type of environment out in like Africa, right? Because those are zebras. So physical place could be described almost with anything that we used on our big maps last week when we annotated those big maps. All of that was physical features that we labeled on our maps. Okay, so physical stuff is things in the environment. Okay, this is not stuff that can be like really changed almost. Like it was part of the world like millions and millions of years ago, right? All of that stuff is physical. So mountains, water, right? Different types of climate regions, or weather patterns, okay? All of that is, you could explain a place like that, and all of that would be physical. Versus human place. Human place is how people changed, and that's not how I want to explain it, how you describe what people have done to a place. Okay, so you're looking at human place. So this could be things like cities or suburbs, right? That is not part of the natural land. Cities and suburbs and houses and buildings and all of that wasn't part of the natural environment. That wasn't part of the physical environment. That wasn't here hundreds and hundreds of years ago. People have drastically changed this world. And so when we describe where places are and how people have affected that, that's called human place. The third type of theme that we have are regions. We have 3 different types of regions. The first one we have are formal regions. So formal regions are united by specific traits. These traits could be like physical or cultural or economical. Okay, so a physical formal region would be like North Africa. In North Africa, what is dominating the physical landscape in North Africa? You should know that that's the Sahara, right? So the Sahara Desert in Northern Africa is a formal region. Okay, everybody knows that North Africa is very different than the rest of Africa, and that has a lot to do with the desert, okay, that physical trait. Another example could be a cultural formal region. Most people know that Mexico all the way down through South America, down through Chile, is considered Latin America, okay? And that's because they are culturally alike, or they are culturally united, because most of those countries speak Spanish and are Catholic in religion, and so that unites that whole region as Latin America, and the rest of the world recognizes that as Latin America. Another example could be gold exports in Ghana. Ghana is in Africa. Okay, they are a very large producer of gold, and so the world will know Ghana for their gold export. Okay, and so that makes it a formal region. So when people around the world can identify a region alike, like the same type of region, then that pretty much makes it a formal region. Recognize it. Oh. Okay, so that's a formal region. Another type of region is called a functional region. It has a specific function, okay? Usually, this is, it has a central point. And a specific activity that goes along with it. So this picture over here shows an airport, right? An airport is a good example because you have our central node is this airport right here. And then you have this movement of airplanes going in and out, okay? That has a specific function, okay? Another example could be like a pizza delivery, not route, but area, I guess. So however far, let's talk about like the Pizza Hut over by Target, right? The Pizza Hut by Target has a specific area that it will deliver to. So the central point would be the Pizza Hut, and the movement would be that pizza delivery guy going back and forth between Pizza Hut and all the different houses that he drives to. So that functional region boundary is as far as he's willing to go. Okay. All of these things have to do with movement. Another example could be like Wakeland. Okay, we have a functional region here. We go back and forth to school every day from your house to here, right? And we come here for the activity of going to school and of learning, right? But there's movement back and forth through that. Okay, another example could be like why can I not think of it? The Toyota Stadium, that's what it is. And we know that everybody comes to Toyota Stadium or those soccer fields around there to either watch or play soccer, right? For practices or games or whatever. And so that central point, that node that people are coming in and out of, that's the fields, right? And the activity would be soccer, and we know that people come in and out of that area, okay? So when we're talking about functional regions, it really just has to do with a specific function. The last part of this is the last region is called a perceptual region. I want you to close your eyes. Don't look at the map over here on the right side. Resist the urge. Okay, close your eyes. And I want you to just say out loud the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Australia. I think of Sydney, okay? I don't know what you said, but I think of Sydney. Close your eyes, don't look at the map, and what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Brazil? Mine is the Amazon rainforest, okay? So I don't know what you said. You might have said Rio, maybe the movie, maybe the city, whatever that was. Okay, and then the last one, close your eyes, and what's the first thing that you think of when you think of a city? I think New York City, okay? So all of those are examples, like you probably said different things than what I just said, all right? And that kind of describes what a perceptual region is. We have these like predetermined things made up in our mind. So it's kind of almost like a mental map. Okay, all of our mental maps are going to be different than everyone else's, and it really comes down to like your beliefs and your backgrounds and how you were raised. How you were raised. Okay, and that's going to determine what a perceptual region is for you. Okay, an example of this could be like, what does the American South mean? What is considered the American South, I guess, is how I should phrase it. It is Texas considered South, or do other parts of the country not consider Texas as part of the South? Maybe they only consider it as like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. Okay, that can be subjective. It depends on where you grew up from. Oh, another example of this is the Midwest. Okay, so I've been telling this story. My best friend lives in Minnesota, which is a border state to Canada. Okay, it's up by the Great Lakes. So I went and saw her this summer, and when I got off the plane, she was like, "Hey, welcome to the Midwest, like, glad to have you." And I was thinking, Midwest? Like, this isn't Midwest. This is north to me. This is northern. This is not Midwest, because in my mind, Midwest consists of, like, Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Kansas. Like, that is the Midwest to me, but to her, Minnesota is included in the Midwest. And so it all depends on your backgrounds and how you're raised and what you bring to the table. Like, what are your preconceived thoughts about a certain place, and that's a perceptual region. This will be different for everyone, okay? Because we're all different. We all think differently about different things in different places. Different for everyone, okay? It's almost like you kind of come up with your own stereotypes in your head, okay? So that's a perceptual region. The next theme that we have to think about is the human environment interaction concept here. So this is a picture of the Hoover Dam. And so people have changed the landscape here. This is a river back here. Don't know which river that is. I probably should know, but that's a river, okay? And so people have made this man-made structure, right, to change the environment, to change not the route of that river, but to stop it, right? So for electrical reasons, for irrigation reasons, for whatever reasons, people have changed the natural environment here, okay? So another example of this could be like deforestation. And people cutting down trees, like in the Amazon, right, for whatever resources. They are permanently changing the landscape and the environment of that area. So that's just people interacting with the land, okay? And the last thing we have to talk about is movement. So people, goods, and ideas move all over the place, okay? We know that people can move for a lot of different reasons, right? It could be for permanent reasons or temporary reasons, okay? So maybe you just go on vacation. You're still gonna leave and come back. Maybe you're moving because of, I don't know, disease or disaster or war, or maybe just get a new job, right? And that's how probably a lot of you moved to Frisco, is because your parents might have gotten a job around here, okay? So people move for all sorts of reasons. Goods move because we trade, right? Countries can exchange goods back and forth to each other. Like, where do you think most of our stuff is made from? China, right? Or maybe the Philippines or Taiwan. You probably have seen that on a lot of your clothes or school stuff or something. But because we trade so much, goods will go back and forth but between countries, right? I know you probably have heard of the triangular trade route, right? Between Europe and Africa and North America. That's kind of like, like where it started, or like the Silk Road, right? That you see on this map here. That was kind of the first movement there of goods, at least, okay? And then the last thing we have is the movement of ideas. This one might be a little bit tricky, but think about it. A really long time ago, if you had this great idea for, I don't know, a way to farm, or this really great idea of like a recipe or something, okay? Those ideas would have to move with people like across an ocean or to a different part of the country or to a different land, right? To a different place. Like people would have to take that on. Today, this technology has changed the way ideas move and spread, right? You can get on your phone right now and you could I don't know, get on Instagram or Snapchat or something, right? And you could see what is happening with teenagers over in China or in Europe, right? You could get online very easily and very quickly and see what is happening in other parts of the world. So the internet, technology, social media has changed the game as far as like how ideas move and spread. It's much faster versus hundreds of years ago, where people, if they had a new idea, like people were gonna have to translate or relocate and take those ideas with them. That's how ideas spread. But today, technology has greatly changed that. All right. Movement's pretty easy. So you have all 5 of these themes. That was a quick recap there. So if you missed this lesson, make sure you come by, get the notes, and you're going to want to watch this and take some notes as you're following along with me, and then you'll come take the quiz with me in class, like during power lunch or something, okay? Thanks, guys. Bye.